Quay, evening rev. 6 p.m. West Coast time, still March 31st, 2025. My question to myself, Reverend, what the hell am I waiting for? I just did a very embarrassing letter. I have suggested to the world of how royally we are screwed up. I'm apologizing to people about who and what we are, to the future generations, what we have allowed to happen, and how much we have lost our minds and our sanity left and right. You talk about being ashamed of everything else these days, Reverend. Well, I am ashamed of what the hell we've done to ourselves, and whether or not if we're actually going to be able to face tomorrow. Because right now, I don't know if we are. To tell you the truth, honest God, I don't think so. Everybody wants to blame everybody. Everybody wants to blame anybody. They don't care. They don't want to care. And therefore, they're going to say, to hell with everybody. Because this is how it is for them. And it scares them. Because we have to do what we've got to do here, but we don't want to do that here. Because right now, we are screwing ourselves over one way or another. But we think we know better. We don't know any better. That's the problem. If we did, we're not doing it to ourselves. We're screwing everybody else. Shit. Try to get into Google to do this shit. And talk about the damn password, because I don't have the fucking password. Shit. I am so damn screwed up, it's not even funny. And I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing at this point. I don't. If I knew what the hell I was going to be doing, I'd be doing it at this point. Once in a great while, it'll come to me that I have to do an apology letter to the future. I know things are fluctuating, but I feel like I owe the future a future. Letter of reconciliation, but also an apology of how we screwed ourselves over. And Mama, being the way she is, my dog, she's fussing. Probably here in the background. I keep expecting God's hand to come on down and scare the crap out of people. What scares me more, Reverend, what scares me more is the two dates I kept trying to pop out. If you actually understood those dates, what they entailed, what happened in those dates. Long while I've heard stories, rumors, counts on television and paper about militia groups trying to support a constitution, or even trying to support the Constitution and claiming our own government system screwed them over one way or another. And I believe that we had screwed ourselves over one way or another. We just didn't bother to pay attention to it all. And I think we are so much in guano, it's not even funny. We find blame. That's the only thing we're doing these days is finding blame in everything. I mean, I could just seriously say to you, it's your fault that your government's the way it is. They're not playing fair with the rest of us. And therefore, whatever happens to Canada, whatever happens to Canada. My question, what happens to the rest of us? You see, I don't get it. I don't get it, Reverend. I get that. Her pleading, whining, needing constantly. And she can't stand where she's at right now. In the hallway. What? I won't put the headset down. Okay. I can't see where anything without these damn things. I gotta get these glasses cleaned. Alright. Hi there. I'm afraid of losing her. More ways than one. I cry, I mourn, I weep. I have to keep saying to myself, it's going to be God's call, not mine. His will for her, not mine. Always has been, always shall be His will, not mine. Because I know I'm going to get myself screwed over one way or another. But here's the thing. I still have to be the implementations, unless God's already doing the implementations on her. Maybe for a long period that I don't even know of. But she is the major force and factor. But if I happen to put her as a metaphysical, or actually a metaphorical example of things, as she's slowly decaying, I'm seeing our world, our planet, our way of life, our thinking, our country, my country of the United States of America, going the same way she is, into deterioration. Because we hadn't taken care of them long enough. And maybe we had a short life. We're supposed to have a short life, cosmically speaking. If I feel like I'm going to be a fiery personality at this point over here, that I'm taking on the martyrism, or I'm taking on as a basic fool and idiot, it's going to be going head to head. But against the principles, and this is what kills me, the principles that we're taught of how to be a Christian. We can't even do that right. How many Christians will be setting themselves up to be conscious objectors in their militaries? Will they be telling their commanding officers, I am not going into combat. I may be arrested and brought on charges, but I can't. I'm a conscientious objector or something like that. I mean, we could try doing that in the militaries today if we could, try to get our asses kicked one way or another. But how many times did that happen in our human history, Reverend? How many times since Christ's birth? I mean, prior to that, we had no choice. We didn't have any Christianity back then. We had our own little individual faith, but we had to be the pawns of whoever had the bigger army on us. Individuals were screwed, but we're part of a larger army that we're protected, right? And we followed them. We drank the Kool-Aid. But Christ, when he came out, and people started trying to follow him, we still had emperors and kings who still prayed and believed in God and Jesus. Still sent people out to destroy others, to gain land, wealth, prosperity, property, disparage everybody else, convince, connive, divide, subdivide, pillage, pilfer, and plunder. Put them in the camps. Put them into hauling grounds, into reservations. All in the name of religion. Beat each other to death over it. How am I not supposed to feel about this, Reverend? How am I not supposed to act upon this? How am I not supposed to do anything about it? The two guys I worshipped a great deal, and I still have a hard time trying to follow the philosophies. Because part of my ancestry, yeah, we're from the European descendants who came over on ships, tried to make their lives better, despite the fact whatever kind of religions they believed in. It's not the religion I believe in today, but back then, I don't know what they were thinking and feeling. I don't know what their faith was like. I don't have that information about it. All I know is we're a land of pluralism. We were trying to get ourselves together. We weren't doing it perfectly. We wanted our little separate fiefdoms and kingdoms at this point over here, but we had freaking tyrants out there who said, no, you do it our way because we say so. We got the bigger army. Deal with that. Nearly a century later, we're fighting among ourselves. And who is right and who is wrong. We can't even do that to ourselves these days. We had the civil rights back in the 60s, 50s, just trying to get through the damn segregationists. And in the 60s, trying to fight for individual freedoms. Women's rights, yeah, but earlier on than that. But the blacks having the rights, Latinos having the rights, are they actually supposed to be? But yeah. Farm workers protested like crazy. They get their own unions. Cesar Chavez Day. But they didn't do it while bloodshed. They didn't cause harm. And neither did the civil rights, except for you're talking about the Black Panthers. But then, they were considered violent. Were they? Were they really? It affects me and pisses me off. How am I not supposed to be pissed off? How am I not supposed to be affected by it? How am I not supposed to be knowledgeable about it? I heard over this. And at times I get too damn overwhelmed that I have to turn everything else off. But I know outside that damn door, the world's still running itself off. But what I hear, I'm expecting that wave to hit. a tsunami of a lot of anger and hatred coming in physically, challenging people to think about this way or else. How are we not supposed to deal with that, Reverend? How? You don't have any answers. I know. I'm just using it as a soundboard at this point. I mean, I can throw this stuff on YouTube and just be out there, but this. How does Christ expect us to act and be if we can't even get up our dead asses to understand this shit? I feel like we're screwing over anything and everything that we held. I'm afraid we're destroying ourselves. We're supposed to be moral and righteous, and we're supposed to be holding ourselves up to Almighty God and saying, look what the other people have done to us. We're such a poor people. The only thing I needed to do, what I kept feeling myself compelled to do, is every time they're cowering and cringing, I'm looking at them in pity at this point over here, but then I'd have to be joining the head of the line, be pissing them off, but they'll say, see, he's our fall guy. See, God, blame him, take him out. We'll be fine. Look at him. And I'll be saying to him, God, if you're pissed off, be pissed off at me. Because I helped allow this crap to happen on my watch. I didn't do everything I could to get it stalled or to get it eliminated. But if it wasn't my job, then I still have to apologize anyway. Because I have to. It's not my own my failures and shortcomings. It's my planet. It's my people. Everything else. I failed my people. I failed my planet. I failed you. You want to nail somebody, nail me to the cross. Or actually nail me somewhere else or drop kick my ass to hell. Prideful, egotistical, arrogant I am at times. Think I know better. And I'm expecting proud God to say, okay, if this is what you want. Yeah. Not really, but yeah. I think that'd stall him out right there. So, okay. Why? Why what? Why are you doing this, John? Saying these things on record and talking to people like this. And you're going in front of them? Where are they to you? If I happen to answer that one, either I represent them and act in their place, and if I don't, I am one of them and hadn't said a word. Christ had said on the cross that, actually pleaded to you, God, Father, forgive them, they don't know what they're doing. They're short-sighted. They only see very little in front of them, except their own bands that they've got with them, their own band of idiots. They're not seeing the bigger picture. They're not caring about the bigger picture. They're not caring about the people who they keep passing by to help. Unless, of course, they're going to pay them more so they can get themselves enriched, one way or another. Enriched with power, ego, control, wealth, being selfish, self-centered, and self-delusional. And the bitch of it is I was born with these people. Either by deliberation or, no, for me it was deliberation, God. But I was still given freedom of choice, of will, to say or do anything, to be anything, to have dreams, to pursue them, much like these fools and idiots. And they are fools and idiots, as I am one. Did I wanted to chase wealth and power? I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a good writer. I wanted to be recognized as a good writer. I know what disappointment was like, and I know how it felt and stung, and didn't do things that I should have done. I studied other things that may or may not have helped me one way or another, made me knowledgeable of things that may or may not have helped. I've worked in jobs. I know what it's like to do labor. I know what it's like to use a brain. I don't know what it's like to lead people, and I didn't want to. I know what it was like to be a caregiver. I know what it was like to lose people I loved and cared about. And I know the consequences of that. And living by myself under a roof with a dog that was driving me crazy and slowly dying off until she's in your hands. Hearing people freaking out left and right. Seeing history repeat itself left and right, and I have to talk about it. I have to put it on video. I have to put it on record. I have to say what I'm watching and seeing at this point. I'm seeing others who don't care, and I have to call them on it. I, like other people who are saying, I call you on this thing. But I still have to look at my own damn actions, my own words. The things that you, Christ, and Gandhi were trying to teach me how to be and what to be. Human. Right now I got a dog that's whining at me. Again. Hold the thought. So you don't mind if I embarrass the crap out of you, do you? Because you are my dog. You are embarrassing the crap out of me. It's your job. I'm doing this with one hand. I can laugh about it, but I deal with she who must be obeyed. And I have to be careful and gentle with my dog and her brittle bones. I have to handle this one with kid gloves, with situations such as this, and different ones. You asked me how come I identified myself as one of them. And Christ already answered that one. We don't know what the hell we're doing. For some of us think we do know. We're still blindsided, as I know I am. I've got logs in my eyes. I've got earwax in my ears. And sometimes a mouth I have to keep struggling to get words out, formulate them, to say things. I'm not in it for profit. And yes, I'm a trinket collector of sorts. I collect trinkets. I got it full of old and current stuff. My place invaded by bugs on a constant basis that I get to live with. No other place to go except for this. I have to deal, cope, and survive. I have to deal with what I have and given right now and just hope and pray it lasts until my life goes. But if my life goes before this place goes, then so be it. And if I could look at my Creator again, having a conversation, I'd say, oh, thank you, God, for her, for my mama dog. Despite her fussing, despite her needing, as she gets older and aging in the moral realm, she tests me on a constant basis. And I fail every time. I need more empathy, more compassion in dealing with a dog that's freaking herself out and her guy holding her. I don't call her a master. I don't use master or owner. She's family. And that means I got to take care of family one way or another without trying to kill them in the process. But the guys keep talking their mouth off left and right about what they want, they want, they want, they want. I'm reminded of sometimes I was like that too. There had been times in my life that my ego wanted the attention. I would throw on pieces of metal glittering, differently shaped, put on patches with different symbols, icons, and whatever. Put them on a vest, and I'm like, I'm wearing this as the Emperor's new clothing. Put a hat on with stuff on it, and then I feel like I'm an ego. Pay attention to me. And sometimes I look at her the same way, but she's not like that. Or maybe she can be, because she's the dog. But I've also discovered that nobody gives a hoot about how much metal I'll keep biting to put on myself and to prove that I am better than anybody else just because of the damn crap I wear. Or about some kind of fictitious title or a story in the background. I have to deal with the reality of it is, if I'm going to be a writer, then I write. If I'm going to be a videographer, I'll videography. I'll do videos. I'll talk about stuff. I talk about my stuff in the mental. I talk about myself concerning about politics. About anything else that pops in. And if it means I have to talk to you, God Almighty, in this way, then I guess I am more of a fool and idiot, because I'm probably more full of myself than anything else. Thinking I know better than anything else, but then again, looking at you compared to me, I am nothing. The only thing that the ego keeps trying to say that it's bigger than anything else because it wants. It's worse than a damn hungry black hole that's sucking everything else, including a cosmos, and it still wants more, and it can't get any more. The only thing it could do is just evaporate, and it doesn't want to do that, so it just exists. Because everything good, everything that we're trying to live for and live with, sucked down into that. How am I supposed to be reconciling with that? I had no control over this damn black hole, and yet I gotta apologize for the damn thing. But then again, nobody else is. You say live it alone. I'm sorry, I can't. Because if it was part of me in any way, shape, or form, and it doesn't want to apologize for itself, I have to. I'm sorry. I was raised that way. I was raised that way. In one form or another, I had to apologize for actions and inactions. Maybe other people would say I'm not supposed to do that. You don't have to. Quit being a decent guy. I'm sorry. I'm a decent guy. You don't like it? Then I would probably have to say something indecent, like bite me. And I could say that to God. You wanted me to follow Jesus. You put Gandhi in my way. And I agreed with the principles. I agreed with what you were trying to do and say. And I tried. And I'm still working on it. I'm not doing it perfectly at this point. And there are the things that I am pissed off about. That I'm angry that my other fellow human beings are doing to increase their own damn stupidity. Waste everything else just for their own. Their own little hungry black holes themselves. And eventually they're going to get sucked up into a bigger one. And maybe in essence I'm supposed to apologize for that. But I can't. I have to turn it over. I have to turn it all over. I have to say, Lord, I know you're right and you have every reason to be such. And I can't be right either. If I'm right and you're right, we're both in a conflict, unless we're both in agreement. If we're both in agreement, then maybe there's some hope. But if we're in conflict, then we're both saying things in a different light, then We're not seeing. We're polarized. There has to be a common gray area. But if there is no common gray area, then we really do have a problem. People hate compromise, and God probably doesn't like compromise. He wants to feel right all the time. If he's correct, fine. If I can find the reasons, yes. But if I can't, and I don't understand it because I don't have the information necessary, otherwise not provided it, but if I am provided it, then I'm not interpreting it right. There's something about things that are screwed up that I can't quite figure out for myself. So if I be facing God and Jesus on Gandhi on this one here, I'm like, what do you guys want me to say or do at this point? You want me to say or do something. Probably say, no, we didn't expect you to do. Then how am I not supposed to react? Or how am I supposed to react to this situation? I'm pissed off about it. And the question is, why? There are such things beyond your power and your cope and your understanding, John. What? What is about it that you're not getting? I say, if you're God, you probably see the confusion in my head, my soul. Yeah, but do you? Have I? Did I know that there are more things in heaven and earth than we write about? That Shakespeare wasn't completely right about everything, and neither were our scientists. I understand that. But as for me trying to understand everything else, maybe it is not my purview, or maybe somewhere I am limited, created being limited to a point, but trying to stretch. And if I am trying to stretch, there's got to be some way to understand. I am powerless over people, places, things, and events. In 12-step meeting halls, this is what we're taught. Because our egos are that tremendous. We have to find ways to deflate them. And we have to recognize what we have control, what we don't have control. I have zero control over Trump and his mouth and the idiots that follow him. I can say whatever I can. But there was lessons learned even in today's sermons about clanging instruments that sound so discordant even when you're trying to make music. There could have been rhythm in there somewhere, but maybe inappropriate things to say or do. A person going into a church and try to proselytize offhand, no matter what he thinks and feels is right. Maybe it wasn't for the pastor to listen to. Maybe somewhere in the congregation, it could just be one person that needed to hear something. Was it a good thing? Was it a bad thing? I don't know, but the person learned something. The person heard something. And if it was a good thing, it'll resonate. If it's a bad thing, well, then it'll resonate as well. But what was being said to that person, if they were talking about how Jesus was supposed to be in his version, in his viewpoint, according to the scriptures of this person actually talked about, and no one else got it, but the pastor got pissed off about it because he was talking and proselytizing? Did the pastor have a different viewpoint of what Christ was supposed to be talking about? Or understanding what Christ said because he's looking at the words and is saying something else? Maybe it's being misinterpreted in his head with a different language. Could have been. Could have been. How am I interpreting everything right now? It's scary that a lot of things I can't do and control. I can't control everybody else's beliefs or faith in something. I can only be a clanging gong, or else maybe some guy coming into a congregation saying my piece, pissing people off, but maybe just one person. It was meant to be heard. But is it going to be making a difference? What kind of difference? What's being started here? The problem is when we have a troublemaker coming in, is it for good, or is it for bad, or for something else? We don't know. Do we have a right to judge that shit? And yet we got people saying that this is fine, this is happening, and are causing chaos and confusion. We see the consequence of that, and we go nuts over it. We don't want the chaos and confusion. Some people actually thrive in a damn thing, think it's good. But if we're actually motivated inside our hearts and saying this is wrong and we're going to fight against it, no matter how we're trying to be misled one way or another, or directed in another language or in a different way. We were given freedom of choice, given freedom of will. But the thing has happened during an accident, or was it an accident? We can find cause, we can find blame, we can try to find what decision caused this thing. Were we part of a grander experiment, or are we still just an experiment that God's still working on us? Did he have a template? Did he have something beyond us? We don't have the information. We are not God. We are not gods. We don't have it. We are limited. And the problem is with our own damn egos. We want to be unlimited. We want to be like God because we want to know everything and be everything. And maybe the lines in the Bible were trying to tell us one thing that was paraphrased in different places. He who increases knowledge increases sorrow. Are we supposed to be ignorant, or are we supposed to be slowly growing in knowledge? Understanding that it's going to be affecting us a great way, affecting us too much. I'd probably look in their eyes. And if I could see a glimmer of understanding in her, I was thinking, we really don't know our actual heart and us. We don't know what we're saying. We think we know. But you guys have already been there. You know it more than we do. There are ways for us to go through, and none of them are easy. We wanted the easy way, but not the hard way. And if this is one of the hard ways we have to do it, then so be it. We got to get our asses kicked. We have to. There's lessons to be learned the hard way. We wanted a nice, swift, and easy way, coasting. It can't be that way, can it, God? Can't be that way, Jesus. Can't be that way, Gandhi. Gandhi represented to me what nonviolence was. Have everybody else see the pain that they're inflicting. If there is any lack of humanity or ounce of compassion in there, they'd see it and know it. But apparently, we don't have it in this time, in this generation, or in the previous generation. We got a con artist pushing strings and pulling us one way or another. What are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? What can I do about it? It's not what should. Because some of the directions out there are going to be putting me through one way or another that nobody's going to like. Neither am I. Either I sit back and watch the show or ask the question in it. I'd probably have to ask that to God, Jesus, and Gandhi as well. Because the alternatives coming out, nobody likes to hear, see, or want to go through. One of the three monkeys are in play. If I videograph, if I do the videos, if I talk about this stuff, then I talk about it. If I don't, I don't. But the other actions, some things are meant for others, but not for me just yet. And I hope to God they never will. But for right now, if the storms are coming, And they're going to blow their ass off like crazy at us. Doesn't matter how many times I can batten down the hatches. I'm still going to feel the effect. I'm still going to see it in action. I'm going to see the rain come down like it never has before. I'm going to hear the wind howl. I'll feel the sting in the skin. And just sitting inside, having it all come down. We're in so much trouble. So much trouble. A fool and idiot. A fool and idiot. That's what I am. A fool and idiot.